Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Tim. Hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our weekly releases on Mr. Maple. You'll have to check it out. We had cool new plants every single week. Today, we're standing at the Bellevue Botanical Garden in Washington, on site, on location with the Maple Society. And I'm standing here with the famous plant legend, Conifer legend, Bob Fincham. Now, he's going to give us his top 5 dwarf or miniature conifers. So get excited, because we got a conifer legend here. So excited about this video. It's something that this is pretty cool. So whenever it comes to conifers, how long you been growing conifers?
I've been growing conifers, I started in 74, so that'd be about 49 years.
49 years, tons of conifers. You're in Conosium Gardens for how long?
I did that for 40 years, plant retail.
And you've written a lot of books on conifers?
Yeah, I've written 6 conifer books.
And you've also written some books on Fagus and Quercus.
Yeah, 1 book on those 2.
So if someone's interested, before we even get into the top 5, on ordering some of those books from you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
The best way is Amazon.com.
So check out Amazon, type in Robert Fincham. You can pull up his books on conifers and his books on Fagus. And he's got a book of those on Fagus and Quercus. You want to check those out. I've got them. They've got a lot of cool information, because this guy, he's got a lot of knowledge on plants. And today we're going to try to suck your brain a little bit for some of these cool conifers. So number 5, what is your number 5 on your dwarf conifers?
5. Number 5 is actually a pine. I prefer spruces mostly, but there's a pine of strobus, eastern white pine, called Horseford.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to another one called sea urchin. So it's kind of a toss-up between the two. These top 5 lists, you often have a tie for number 5, so that's what I did, made a tie for number 5. They're very slow growing. The needle length is almost longer than the annual growth. And they just make a nice tight little bun.
Yeah.
And to get it to survive for a long time, you have to go in there and clean the needles out, because the needles are long and they get trapped inside the plant. You can have disease problems. So you keep those cleaned out, and you can have a nice, tidy little specimen for the small garden or the rock garden, or full sun.
Yeah.
And not too much water. Pine of Strobus Horseford was found up in Vermont.
Vermont.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was found growing it was in a horse pasture.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, Greg Williams, got it propagated before a horse stepped on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the sea urchin came from Sid Waxman at University of Connecticut. It was a Marys Broom seedling.
Wow.
And,
See, I know Sid Waxman. He is a legend when it comes to witches' brooms and Sciadopitys. I mean, he's done so much for that work. Yeah. I know in the conifer world, Sid Waxman did quite a bit.
Yeah, he was growing as many as 30,000 Marys Broom seedlings at one time.
So what's your favorite thing about Horseford?
It's like putting a green cushion, light green cushion out in the garden. And if you ever come across it, you fall in love with it. And it stays small. It does not outgrow its space. And minimal maintenance, just cleaning the needles out every winter. It just makes such a great little plant.
Yeah.
Also works nice on a grafted standard. We put it up about 30 inches off the ground, and then you can plant your flowering annuals around it. Because it'll be above them and they won't choke it out.
Nice, nice.
4.
All right, so we're down to number 4.
Okay, my top 4 are all spruces. I just enjoy spruces, and probably number 4 would be Picea abies Molina.
Molina.
Yeah, it might be a hard one to find, but the thing I like about Molina, it's an extremely tight little Norway spruce. Grows at most an inch a year, more like half an inch a year, and the needles are almost half an inch long. It makes a nice tight little bun, but it's really claimed to fame is the fact that you can have it in full sun, and on a 100-degree day it won't burn. Most of the tight Norway spruces, like Burno and Hassan and Little Gem and a lot of those, if they're in the full sun on a 100-degree day in the middle of summer, and if it's all dry, you're going to lose the south side of the plant. And Molina, I've had it growing with all these others, and the others burned badly, and Molina just grows right through it.
it's a good plant. We grow it at Buckholt's Nursery. And I mean, just that sort of rounded form. I just like it because it really is such a slow grower.
Yeah.
And if someone's looking for a small little spruce to go in that tight spot,
yeah.
I mean, that's a great one.
Yeah, you don't need all blue and greens, all blue and yellows. You got to have some green. And Molina is a nice green. It's dark green, and Horseford is a light green with a completely different texture for the garden.
Oh, yeah.
3.
All right. So we're down to number 3. Number 3 on Bob Fincham's Dwarf and Miniature Conifers.
Okay, last week I talked about Skylands. Well, Skylands once had a witch's broom on it in New Jersey. And the witch's broom was propagated and gave us a plant called Tom Thumb Gold.
Yeah.
And Tom Thumb Gold is a globose golden Picea orientalis that grows about an inch a year, which means it'll increase in size about 2 inches a year. And just makes this nice golden globe. But unlike Skylands, it needs some sun protection. But if you give it too much, it's green. And so what you have to do is give it protection from the sun in like from 1 to 4 in the afternoon when the sun's at its hottest. And it'll have the yellow color and it won't burn. Because it will burn. If you're able to grow it for like 20 years and get it up about this size, then the full sun probably wouldn't hurt it.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you grow it for 20 years like that, everything around is grown up and it's still going to be in some shade.
I love that plant. I mean, I've offered it before as like a low graft, also on a standard, kind of like what you're talking about with the Horseford.
Yeah.
And that's just a fun way to do that plant because you can raise it up a little bit, get it off the ground because it is such a slow grower. Just make sure that someone doesn't step on it. They can actually see it when they're walking around.
Yeah, but the trick to a standard is leave the understock on the stem.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't trunk up and it'll fall over when it gets some size to it. And so leaving understock on, the stem will trunk up. And when it gets trunked up nicely, you then clean the understock off. You don't have to worry about falling over.
That's cool.
And if you do it about 15 inches high or 18 inches high, after 10, 12 years, the outer edges of it will start touching the ground and it'll support itself. And it'll make this very interesting, almost globose mound sitting on the ground. Bright yellow, just like Skylands.
Love that plant. Tom Thumb or Tom Thumb Gold, that is amazing.
2.
So y'all, we're down to number 2 on Bob Fincham's top dwarf and miniature conifers. So get excited. What do you got for your number 2?
It's blue, Picea pungens, St. Marys Broom, which you'll also see as St. Mary.
Yeah.
It's one of the first of the dwarf blue spruces, really honestly dwarf ones, that makes a cushion on the ground. And I like it over some of the others, like Blue Pearl and Blau Kissen and some of the others, which are nice. But the thing I like so much about St. Mary is it's kind of an irregular mound because some of the terminal buds don't push. You get a new shoot, and the following year that terminal bud doesn't push, but the side ones do. And so you get this irregular surface to it. And it's a nice bright blue, and it came from St. Mary's, I think it was a convent in New Jersey. And the original broom was still alive 10 years ago. And it's been around since the 1960s.
Wow.
And you don't see it much in garden centers anymore because the nurseries are going toward Blue Pearl and Blau Cushion and some of these other ones that they're finding, Blau Kissen. And it's a mistake not to still do St. Mary's Broom. It was really a great plant.
I have to get that one in production. I haven't heard of that one before, but that's one that we'll have to start doing because that one sounds really cool.
Yeah, it makes a nice standard also. 1.
All right, y'all. We're down to number 1 on Bob Fincham's small and dwarf conifers. What do you got?
Well, last week I talked about Picea Gold Drift. Well, in my 27 seedlings that I grew from the cross with Acrocona, there was one that turned out to be a miniature gold drift, and I called it Goldfinch. I've introduced about 40 new conifers to the conifer world, and I've never named any after myself. This is the closest I've come to naming one after myself. I called it Goldfinch.
It's golden, like gold drift.
Yeah.
And Robert Fincham.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome.
And you can think of it being like the bird Goldfinch, except it's 2 words. So
Yeah.
It's not really the bird.
Yeah.
And it grows identical to gold drift. but it grows at, anywhere from 1/4 to 1/8 the rate, because gold drift will put on 18 inches of growth some years. Goldfinch, the most I've ever seen on that is 6 inches.
Wow.
That's the most. And the needles are in scale. They're 1/4 the size of the needles on gold drift. And it'll grow flat on the ground. If you stake it, it'll grow as high as you stake it. And then when you stop staking it, it just stops going up and comes straight down. Very narrow. And if the staked or not, it'll spread out over the ground, because if you get it staked up this high, it'll have a nice bright yellow skirt around it. And it's just a great plant. And it's not going to be as top of plant as gold drift,
Yeah.
because that makes more of a statement in the landscape. But it's a plant that's going to be very popular, because you can put it in any small garden. Like here,
Yeah.
it would look great planted above one of these rocks to come down over the rock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for small gardens, which is what we're moving toward in this country. Goldfinch is a winner, because there are no yellow spruces that are prostrate.
Yeah.
The closest you have to is gold drift, and then goldfinch you have a miniature. So if you want a golden conifer that's prostrate and you don't want a juniper, you have to look at gold drift and goldfinch.
I love the fact that all these cool yellow selections of spruces, a lot of these came from just a little spot on one of your conifers in your garden that you thought might have gotten hit with Roundup.
Yep.
That is so cool that then you've developed it into this, almost series of dwarf and weeping Norway spruces that have that yellow color.
Mm-hmm.
Just so awesome, so cool. It's an honor and a privilege, Bob, to be talking conifers with you. I really appreciate you joining us on our show. Check out his
My
books.
pleasure.
Check out his books on Amazon. You're gonna love them.
I also have a website at robertfincham.com.
robertfincham.com, so you can go there and check that out as well. Y'all, this is the conifer legend. Y'all better show him some appreciation. Hit that like button. And thank y'all so much. Take care. God bless, and have a great day.